Hello everyone, welcome back to the garden. We are here with another garden update, taking a look around. So last update that you saw, we had that crazy snowfall. It ended up being like an inch and a half of snow. Is like the weirdest thing that's happened since like the 1800s or something. But we've recovered quite nicely. We've been getting lots and lots and lots of rain since then, which is good for the garden, but not so good for filming. So I took a break, took advantage of a break in the weather to kind of walk around and see what's going on here. We have our Dutch irises are looking pretty good. The earlier Dutch irises have already stopped blooming. That was the Miss Saigon Dutch iris that bloomed very, very early. But now we have some of the later blooming ones starting to open up. So we have this very, very bright one called Ave the Tiger, which is very much reminiscent of just the regular blue Dutch iris that are so common. But rather than being blue, it's actually a very dark and mysterious kind of this very, very dark purple plum color with a little bit of yellow in there, which is very nice. Looking forward to seeing the rest of our Dutch irises as well. Would you guys like a full Dutch iris tour video whenever they're done blooming? I'm thinking about making one of those for sure. Also in the garden we have our Dianthus, which I haven't showed you in a little bit of time. Luckily these rebounded really well from the snow. I knew they would because they are a hardy biennial. Even so, we have a lot of weeds in there. Just ignore those and pretend like they're not there, because once these start blooming, I'm fairly confident we won't even see those weeds. You know, busy schedules, just weeding is really the last thing on my list a lot of the times. But this is the Coral Sweet Dianthus, and you can see they are starting to bud up a little bit. So should be about another month or so if I was going to guess when those were going to be done. Also in the garden, I think I showed you last time, I'm honestly not even sure anymore what I showed you and what I didn't. We took out all the tulips. This used to be the tulip bed. Now it is the Lysianthus bed. I'm really excited to see these Lysianthus. We had several different colors that I ordered this year. I suppose next year we'll try from seed again, but who knows. Really excited to see those put on some new growth, and I have to make sure that I stay on top of weeding in this bed because Lysianthus, unlike some things, will not compete with the weeds, so I have to make sure I keep everything together there. Moving over to the other side of the yard, the other side of the hoop house, we have this little tiny patch of Feverfew that looks really nice. Of course, it's surrounded by grass, but hey, you know what? We do what we do here on the channel. I believe I have the Vegmo Sunny Ball Feverfew and the Virgo Feverfew. I think there was one other variety. And of course our double Feverfew as well. Let me know if you want to see a Feverfew tour, because I personally really, really love Feverfew. It is such a handy kind of filler little small foliage, like not foliage, but small flower for flower arrangements. And it is so pretty. It's easily one of my favorite flowers for the cut flower garden for kind of that middle of season time period. And it's very simple. So let me know if you want to see that. Looking on, we have the Snapdragon beds doing very, very well. They've recovered from any kind of transplant shock that they were having, you know, a little bit of drooping. They've recovered from that. They all are standing up nice and tall, looking very good. I'm very, very excited to see how the Snapdragons are going to do this season. Another one that is one of my kind of middle of the season favorite flowers. Our Calendula bed has been planted. There it is. It's just a big patch of dirt right now. Sorry, it's not more exciting. We've also planted some lilies. A couple of you guys requested a lily video. Unfortunately, I've already planted them. I'm sorry. Looking further, we're going to venture into the hoop house now. We have our Calendula. Hello, the Calendula have just suddenly just burst into life, which is awesome. And the stems have gotten quite a bit longer. I know I was kind of complaining about, oh, the stems are so short, but these things are really just starting to come into their own right now, and I am totally digging it. We have two types of calendula. This is the apricot kinglet, which is a scabiosa type, and the other one that is just starting to bloom is called green heart gold, which is a very big double type of calendula. These look like almost Gerbera daisies. You know, I am trying Gerber daisies for the first time this year in a long time. And these calendula are looking big, huge, and daisy-like. I'm really digging these. These are awesome. Also in this row, we have our scented stalks, which are doing amazing all of a sudden. I have no clue why the scented stalks are so tall. They're like 2 feet tall. They look like I know what I'm doing. These things looked terrible just a month ago. I don't know. We're just going to go with it. They're blooming. They look good. I am so surprised. Our Icelandic poppies are still blooming as well. They're still looking crazy. They're just laying all over the place. It's technically a failure in terms of using the Icelandic poppies as cut flowers this year, but not a failure because they're beautiful and I'm really enjoying watching them bloom. So it's just gotta, you win some, you lose some kind of thing with these Icelandic poppies. The seed came from GeoSeed. Look for prime seed. That's, very important. That's pretty much how I started growing these from seed, with a good quality prime seed. We come to the Ranunculus, the ridiculous Ranunculus. I think I want to make a t-shirt that just says, that's Ranunculus written on it. I think that would be so funny. Would anybody even wear that? We have one right now called Flowers, y'all, and I bought one, and it's so stinking cute. I really love it. Anyway, enough rambling about my merch, right? These Ranunculus are hands down some of the biggest Ranunculus flowers that I have ever grown. I have no idea what the magic equation was for these Ranunculus to grow so huge. I'm thinking because this spring has been pretty cool. The weather has been pretty consistently nice and mild, especially at night. And I think that has been the magic formula, because I'd say 80% of these Ranunculus flowers are bigger than the palm of my hand. I am so serious. They are enormous. You really can tell the difference. You'll see this when I do a Ranunculus full tour. You really can tell the difference between the quality double Ranunculus, like the Labelle and Amandine series, that you have to pay a little bit more for, compared to something like the Aviv or Telecoat series. I'll talk about more of those differences in that tour video when I finally get around to making it. But it's just, the difference is night and day. There are some really, really beautiful colors, really, really beautiful varieties out there. I'm so eager to show you guys all of them. You'll remember I did a little bit of an experiment with these Ranunculus in the middle here, that I accidentally interplanted them with the sweet peas because I thought my sweet peas didn't germinate, so I just put Ranunculus there instead. Long story short, the sweet peas germinated, and the sweet peas are actually climbing up the Ranunculus, and they're actually doing really well together. But the only major problem is that if I want to use any of those stems of the Ranunculus in the hoop house for cut flower arrangements, there's a sweet pea attached to it, and it's very, very difficult to cut, and it's a big mess. So I definitely do not recommend doing that for anyone who was interested in how that little experiment went. Also, looking around the garden, looking at some of our trays. You'll remember we had that chrysanthemum tray in the last video that was all wilted. It was a tray full of cuttings. It looked like garbage. It looked like hot garbage. They're actually bouncing back. They're perking up. I can only assume that they're trying to root themselves. So, hey, that just goes to show that even when you think something you've done is a complete failure, just, persevere just a little bit longer and see how it plays out completely, because I thought that these were definitely a lost cause, and as it would turn out, they're not. I think they're going to root pretty well. I think they're going to end up doing pretty good, so that's good. Also, looking at our tray full of our Dahlia seedlings that we started. These Dahlia seedlings are looking awesome as well. We have about 50 Dahlia seedlings now altogether total. Most of these are just little cotyledons right now, those little first true leaves. And hopefully we'll start getting some real leaves very, very soon. I've been taking care of this tray. It hasn't been in a hoop house or anything, so it's just been growing out here in the weather. I've been making sure to keep the slugs out of them. It seems like we've got a lot of slugs this year. Like a lot of slugs. It's been so wet. We have tons of slugs. But I'm feeling cautiously optimistic about that, and taking a look at some of our other Dahlia trays, the Dahlia tubers that we have started to pre-sprout. Those are looking really, really good too. A lot of our tubers from last year are starting to sprout, which is awesome. I can't wait to kind of pot those up and plant those. And get the Dahlia garden going. In case you're wondering, I have to remove the Ranunculus in order to put the Dahlia garden in. So it really is a balancing act of getting the most out of my Ranunculus and then ripping them all out and putting the Dahlias in where they are right now. And I think I'm going to try to transplant a lot of the Ranunculus, at least my favorite ones, into trays and see if I can kind of nurse them along as transplants until they go dormant. We'll see how that works. I wish I had more space, but it is what it is. Other than that, I don't have any other trays going right now. I don't have any zinnias or sunflowers or celosia or anything. I don't have any trays going simply because I'm just going to wait it out a little bit longer. I don't know where I would put them. They're very fast growing, so I don't want to have trays full of plants and, know where to put them. So I'm kind of worried about that. But as always, I'm sure I'll just figure it out as time goes by. And that's about it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I am so appreciative. I really am. As always, be sure to leave a comment down below. I love to know what you guys think. Was it helpful? What experiences do you have? I'm always learning from the comments, which I really love. As always, if you're not a subscriber and you like this video, be sure to hit the little subscribe button, hit the little bell. The bell tells you whenever we make new videos. It's a great way to keep up with the channel and grow just our little gardening community here. As always, all the links to everything is down in the description below. Our link to Patreon and our YouTube memberships is there. It helps support the channel. It helps me pay for things like blog fees, and occasionally I get help with editing, which is really helpful because let's face it, I am not the most tech savvy person on the planet. But I am trying to keep learning and keep making our videos better. There's also a link to the blog. Oftentimes you can check out the blog and there would be more information and more pictures about the thing that I've talked about in the video, just because sometimes it helps for me to write down that information and kind of organize it much better. As always, feel free to share this video with a friend. It helps us so much when we grow the channel. I hope that you're having such an incredible day, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.